You've chosen a good drawer today. That's called an emerald. And it's the most precious thing I have here. It's a keepsake from my grandmother. They're beautiful and terribly valuable. And at one point, they were the most highly prized jewels on the island. But their beauty has been forgotten now. This one is thin and small, but it's important. When you had something you wanted to tell someone, you would write it down on a piece of paper and paste this stamp on it. Then they would deliver it for you, anywhere at all. But that was a long time ago. Ribbon, bell, emerald, stamp. The words that came from my mother's mouth thrilled me, like the names of little girls from distant countries or new species of plants. As I listened to her talk, it made me happy to imagine a time when all these things had a place here on the island. Yet that was also rather difficult to do. The objects in my palm seemed to cower there, absolutely still, like little animals in hibernation, sending me no signal at all. They often left me with an uncertain feeling, as though I were trying to make images of the clouds in the sky out of modeling clay. When I stood before the secret drawers, I felt I had to concentrate on each word my mother said. My favorite story was the one about perfume, a clear liquid in a small glass bottle. The first time my mother placed it in my hand, I thought it was some sort of sugar water, and I started to bring it to my mouth. "No, it's not to drink," my mother cried, laughing. "You put just a drop on your neck like this." Then she carefully dabbed the bottle behind her ear. "But why would you do that?" I asked, thoroughly puzzled. "Perfume is invisible to the eye, but this little bottle nevertheless contains something quite powerful," she said. I held it up and studied it. "When you put it on, it has a wonderful smell. It's a way of charming someone. When I was young, we would use it before we went out with a boy. Choosing the right scent was as important as choosing the right dress. You wanted the boy to like both. This is the perfume I wore when your father and I were courting. We used to meet at a rose garden on the hill south of town, and I had a terrible time finding a fragrance that wouldn't be overpowered by the flowers. When the wind rustled my hair, I would give him a look as if to ask whether he'd noticed my perfume." My mother was at her most lively when she talked about this small bottle. In those days, everyone could smell perfume. Everyone knew how wonderful it was. But no more. It's not sold anywhere, and no one wants it. It was disappeared the autumn of the year that your father and I were married. We gathered on the banks of the river with our perfume. Then we opened the bottles and poured out their contents, watching the perfume dissolve in the water like some worthless liquid. Some girls held the bottles up to their noses one last time. But the ability to smell the perfume had already faded, along with all memory of what it had meant. The river reeked for 2 or 3 days afterward, and some fish died. But no one seemed to notice. You see, the very idea of perfume had been disappeared from their heads. She looked sad as she finished speaking. Then she gathered me up on her lap and let me smell the perfume on her neck. "Well?" she said. But I had no idea what to answer. I could tell that there was some sort of scent there, like the smell of toasting bread or the chlorine from a swimming pool, yet different. But no matter how I tried, no other thought came to mind. My mother waited, but when I said nothing, she sighed quietly. "It doesn't matter," she said.